My vegan girlfriend demanded me to get rid of my cat as her ultimatum. Hey everyone, I'm Alan, 22 years old. What I'm about to tell you might sound a little crazy, but it's true. My life has been pretty simple so far, and I've had a super important friend by my side for the past 3 years, my pet cat, Mittens. She's an incredibly adorable calico, a walking fluff ball who's always glued to me. I swear, she's been everything to me since I moved out on my own. Just thinking about her warms my heart. Everything was smooth sailing until about 7 months ago when I met Chloe at university. She's a year younger than me, 21. My first impression of her? Wow. Chloe was totally everyone's crush material. Beautiful, smart, and charming to talk to. We quickly clicked, like we were meant for each other. Everything was absolutely perfect. I thought I'd found my soulmate. Things would have stayed perfect if it hadn't been for a tiny flag, which at the time I thought was pink. Chloe, she's a super strict vegan. Like, veganism is her whole life. Everything she talks about is vegan related. From the very beginning, she even explicitly stated that her diet was really important to her, and she wanted her boyfriend to have the exact same non-violent values. And what about me? Well, I was already a pescatarian, so switching completely to veganism wasn't all that difficult. I went along with it, partly as a way to support Chloe, and honestly, I was also proud of myself for going all in with this diet. Just like that, we became the famous vegan power couple around campus. From the outside, we looked perfect. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was. And that pink flag was actually targeting Mittens. Chloe always seemed a bit reserved around her. She'd just say it was because she didn't grow up with cats, so she wasn't used to them. I found it odd, but I nodded along and dismissed it, thinking it was probably normal. To make her more comfortable, we started spending most of our time at Chloe's apartment instead of mine. At the time, I just thought, oh, it's a small compromise, no big deal. Little did I know that small compromise was just the beginning of a huge mess. Those small compromises, like only staying at Chloe's place, slowly morphed into something much bigger. At first, I just thought Chloe was particular about her food, but her particularity soon extended to my fridge too. She'd come over to my apartment and just open the fridge to inspect it. If she found an organic milk carton I'd forgotten to throw out, or a few snack packs with even a tiny bit of gelatin, her face would cloud over. Then she'd say, "Alan, we're a couple. Our home should be clean and vegan. These things don't fit our relationship." I felt a bit awkward, but I just shrugged it off, thinking she was just overly enthusiastic, so I tossed everything out to make her happy. But it didn't stop at food, guys. Chloe started purifying my personal belongings too. My toothpaste, shampoo, and even my favorite leather jacket or my nice leather shoes, all of them were blacklisted as non-vegan and had to disappear. She'd say, "These things are cruel to animals, Alan. I can't accept you being tainted by them." Then she'd buy me a bunch of new stuff, jackets made from recycled plastic bottles, all sorts of canvas shoes and toothpaste and shampoo that were 100% vegan. She called them love gifts. It sounded nice, but I felt like I was being stripped bare. It was as if she were trying to change me completely. The feeling of being invaded was terrible, but I still swallowed my anger, wanting to preserve what I thought was this perfect relationship. While my belongings being purified was one thing, what I absolutely could not accept was how Chloe started putting pressure on Mittens. At first it was just gentle complaints like, "Ugh, cat hair everywhere," or "I think there's a cat smell in here," or "Why does the cat keep meowing?" Then things started to get worse. She began introducing new rules that were just unbelievable. "Alan, I don't want Mittens in our bedroom, okay? And when I'm here, don't let her into the living room." Doesn't that sound insane? This is my home, this is my cat, she's been a resident of this house for 3 years and has been through so much with me. Suddenly, she was becoming an outsider in her own home. I felt incredibly uncomfortable, but I still tried to endure it, thinking maybe she had allergies or something. But Chloe didn't stop there. She started explicitly stating her chilling intentions. "Alan, have you thought about letting Mittens stay on the balcony or in the basement? That way she'd have her own space and it would ensure our home is completely vegan." Hearing this, my blood started to boil. She was trying to push Mittens to the side, out of my life, out of this family. I immediately cut her off, flat out. "No way, Chloe. Mittens is a member of this family. She needs to be inside. Don't you dare talk about such nonsense again." It was the first time she saw me angry and she went silent. But when I looked into her eyes, I knew she hadn't given up. And I was right. I should have seen it then. Then the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Everyone was stuck at home, social distancing. During this time, Chloe and I were practically inseparable, mostly at her apartment. We started having serious conversations about the future, like taking our relationship to the next level. We discussed buying an apartment together, or me moving in with her permanently. It all sounded so dreamy, and I was absolutely thrilled thinking I was finally going to have a little family of my own. But life isn't that simple. While I was fantasizing about a home and kids, Mittens, something horrifying happened. I started noticing Mittens acting strangely. She was getting increasingly tired and lethargic, and she also had loose stools. At first I thought she might have caught a chill or eaten something random out on the balcony. I was worried, but I just thought it was something minor, so I gave her some medicine and monitored her. Until one day, I came home intending to refill Mittens' food bowl, and my jaw dropped. The bag of kibble I always bought for her wasn't in its container anymore. Instead, there was a strange bag clearly labeled 100% vegan cat food, or something similar. For the past few days, Chloe had been the one feeding Mittens. I'd even been happy thinking she wanted to bond with Mittens. Who would have thought? My heart pounded. I knew then that I couldn't let this slide. I grabbed the bag and ran straight to Chloe's place. I couldn't believe Chloe would do something like that behind my back. I stood facing her, holding the food bag, and asked directly, "What the hell is this, Chloe? What have you done with Mittens' food?" Her face went pale, then it hardened. Chloe's face went pale for exactly 3 seconds before she regained a chilling composure. "Why are you so stressed, Alan? I'm just helping Mittens live a proper and ethical life. You don't understand the cruelty of the cat food industry. Animals are kept in confinement to be butchered, then brutally killed to make cat food. Think about how pathetic they are." My blood boiled hearing this. "What ethical? Do you know Mittens is sick because of your ethical food, huh?" Chloe pouted. "You're brainwashed, Alan. Those vets, they're all brainwashed by the cat meat industry. They just want to sell food made from animal carcasses. Mittens will be fine. She's just decoxing." At this point, I knew there was no reasoning with her. I ignored all of Chloe's twisted justifications. The most urgent thing was to save Mittens. I immediately rushed her to Dr. Evans, my regular vet. Dr. Evans examined Mittens and shook his head, looking at me. "Alan, cats are obligate carnivores. A completely vegan diet is absolutely unsuitable for them. You shouldn't even try it. Your Mittens is having serious health problems, suffering from severe malnutrition and digestive disorders due to nutrient deficiencies. It's a good thing you brought her in quickly." Hearing the vet, I felt like I couldn't stand still. My heart ached, as if it were being torn apart. My little innocent Mittens had to suffer because of Chloe's extreme, even abusive fanaticism. At that moment, I wasn't just simply angry anymore. I was consumed by absolute rage. This wasn't just about Chloe messing with my belongings or brazenly changing my cat's food. This was a deliberate act of causing harm to Mittens' health, to a family member I loved more than myself. In that moment, I realized Chloe wasn't just extreme. She was frighteningly blind. She was dangerous. And I knew this relationship could not continue. After Mittens nearly died, I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. We had a conversation, or rather, an argument, but it was disturbingly cold. Chloe showed absolutely no remorse, not a single apology, no hint of regret for harming my cat. She came over to my place that day, sat me down on the sofa, and told me she had something important to say, her face visibly serious. I swear her eyes were like a statue's then, completely devoid of emotion. Then she uttered a sentence as if she had just discovered the truth of the universe. "Alan, if we want to have a real future, a meaningful future, then you have to give Mittens away." I was stunned. Give her away? After all she had suffered because of Chloe's obsession? I stammered, What are you saying, Chloe? Have you forgotten she nearly died because of your vegan food? Chloe's face contorted, not from sadness or remorse, but from anger. Don't you understand? That cat eats meat. Thousands of animals have died just so it can live. Would you accept it if it were human flesh? She screamed, her voice full of fury, as if I were the most evil person on earth. Do you really love me, Alan? If you love me, you'll understand and support me in this. In that moment, something inside me shattered. I looked at the girl I once thought was my destiny, the person I had changed myself for, the one I had endured so much to please. Now she was pushing me to the point of demanding I abandon a piece of my flesh and blood, a family member I loved more than myself. She was using love to coerce me. She asked if I loved her, but had she ever truly loved or respected what was important to me? In that instant, I knew everything was over. There was no future for me and someone like Chloe. In that moment, Chloe's words were like a dagger straight to my heart. Suddenly, all the sweet words she had said when we first met flooded back. Chloe used to say she loved me for my compassion, for my kind heart, for how I always cared about everyone and everything. And now, my compassion for Mittens was considered unacceptable by her. Suddenly, I saw everything as a lie. The compliments, the declarations of love, it turned out they were just to manipulate me, to turn me into a different version of myself according to her wishes. I felt terribly betrayed. I took a deep breath, trying to stay as calm as possible, but the pain and anger surged, no longer controllable. I looked directly into Chloe's eyes, my voice trembling, but every word firm. You're right, Chloe. We can't have a future. I paused for a beat, staring at her stiffening face. And I will never, ever abandon Mittens. Chloe's face froze, then contorted. She was visibly shocked. Just a few seconds later, tears welled up, and she started begging, crying loudly. You can't do this to me, Alan. I love you. Don't throw everything away for a cat. She tried to grab my hand, but I pushed it away. Her tears at that moment, they just seemed too fake to me now. Then, in a flash, the begging turned into pure rage. Her eyes bloodshot, she shrieked, You're heartless! You understand nothing about ethics! You'll regret this! You'll lose everything because of that animal! She screamed at me, as if cursing my very existence. Her curse, which I detested at the time, ironically, set the stage for everything that followed. I didn't say another word. I stood up and flung the door open. Get out of my house immediately, I said, my voice icy without a tremor. Chloe continued to wail and cry, but I didn't waver. I was utterly exhausted. I watched her walk out the door and then shut it. The decisive click sounded like a definitive end. Immediately after, I called my older sister, Sarah. Sarah is a few years my senior, incredibly pragmatic and always worried about me. When I first started dating Chloe, Sarah had warned me about people with extreme lifestyles. She even said that passion can easily turn into blindness. Now, her words rang true. I told her everything, and Sarah didn't say much, just sighed and said, You did the right thing, Alan. Anyone who dares to harm your Mittens doesn't deserve to be with you. Now, change your locks and cut off all contact with her. Don't let her have another chance to bother you. Having my sister's support made me feel much lighter. From the day Chloe walked out of my door, everything slowly returned to normal. It was strangely peaceful. I no longer had to constantly worry about Chloe checking my fridge or throwing out my belongings. I didn't have to listen to her extreme veganism lectures anymore. I swear, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest. Most importantly, my Mittens made a full recovery. She became more energetic and adorable than ever. She ran around the house, clung to me, demanding cuddles, truly a happy fluff ball. Looking at her, I realized how much happier I was without being controlled. True happiness, not the artificial happiness someone else painted for me. I also followed Sarah's advice and blocked all contact with Chloe on my phone and all social media. I didn't want anything to do with that toxic drama anymore. Life simply went on, light and serene. Everything remained quiet until one day I coincidentally ran into an old friend from university who was also a mutual friend of mine and Chloe's. This guy was blunt, no beating around the bush. After a few pleasantries, he casually nudged me like, "Hey, guess what? Chloe's currently caught up in a huge mess with her brother." I was a bit shocked to hear that because I had no idea Chloe even had a brother. To be honest, our relationship was just about being vegan, hanging out, Netflix and chill, you know? Then my friend started telling me all about Chloe's brother, named Sean, 35 years old, and after hearing it, I could only shake my head in dismay. This guy was the true definition of a slacker, never doing anything productive, just freeloading off his mom and Chloe. He was also very vegan, but only in words, constantly coming up with fanciful schemes to ask for money. Suddenly, a huge black flag appeared, one that I had been too blind to see before. My friend continued to tell me about Sean. He was a true theoretical vegan, folks. He'd constantly preach about protecting the environment and animals, but it was really just a smokescreen for his chronic laziness. He'd always say things like, "This harms animals," or "That's unethical." But in reality, he never did anything productive. It was like he wouldn't work for fear of affecting an ant or something. What's even more telling is Chloe. From childhood, she had always covered for this good-for-nothing brother. Whatever Sean wanted, Chloe indulged. From money for food, pocket money, to even his ridiculous projects. She would throw herself into working, earning money, and then hand it all over to Sean. Thinking back now, it sends shivers down my spine. Chloe kept demanding that I be this way or that, forcing me to adhere to her ethics, yet she couldn't see the freeloading hypocrite right next to her. Then I suddenly realized that she sometimes borrowed money from me, saying a family member urgently needed it. Don't tell me that person was Sean. And this is when karma came knocking, folks. After Chloe and I broke up, for some reason Chloe became even more entangled with Sean. My friend told me that Sean started coming up with even grander vegan projects. There was talk of world-saving organic vegetable farms and super-grade vegan food projects. It reeked of a scam from the start, but that's just how an ordinary person would see it. Chloe, however, was extraordinary. Chloe blindly trusted her brother and poured all her savings, possibly even borrowing more, to invest in Sean's outlandish projects. And guess what happened? Just as I thought, Sean took advantage of Chloe's trust and money, completely draining her. After that, he vanished without a trace, leaving Chloe destitute, bankrupt, and criticized by her own family and other friends for her blindness. I stood there stunned as my friend told me the story. The feeling was strange. It wasn't exactly gloating, but it was like a validation. Chloe's curse, "You'll lose everything because of that animal," had now turned back on her. What goes around truly comes around. Chloe's extremism, blindness, and complicity in wrongdoing ultimately came back to bite her. Several months after Sean swindled all of Chloe's money, life for Mittens and me continued to be peaceful. Mittens was perfectly healthy now, as if nothing had ever happened. Then one day, Mittens and I were strolling around the shopping center near my place, planning to go to the supermarket. As we walked, I suddenly froze. At the cashier of a tiny convenience store, a familiar figure caught my eye. It was Chloe. She was so different. Gone was the radiant, beautiful look she once had. Chloe looked utterly devastated, her face pale and drawn, her eyes deeply sunken, as if she hadn't slept for nights. Her hair was messy, and the convenience store uniform she wore was baggy and old. She kept her head bowed, busily scanning items. I stood there watching, my heart sinking a little. Then Chloe looked up, her eyes sweeping over me and Mittens. In that moment, I clearly saw a mix of regret, shame, and even envy in her gaze. Mittens, oblivious, rubbed against my leg as if to show off how happy she was. Chloe looked at us, then quickly lowered her head, avoiding my eyes. I simply gave a gentle nod, then quietly walked past. That evening, I held Mittens in my arms, sitting on the sofa, reflecting on everything that had happened. I didn't feel any glee or joy at seeing Chloe in distress. There was no satisfaction, honestly, but I felt a strange sense of serenity. It was as if something had been confirmed. that I had made the right choice. I realized a crucial truth. Love isn't about control or forcing others to abandon what they cherish. True love must be built on respect, understanding, and compassion. Ethics should go hand in hand with compassion, not be twisted into extremism, blindness, and disregard for everything else. I'm happy I chose to protect my family member, my closest friend, Mittens. I don't regret having tried a vegan diet, but I learned a painful lesson. Extremism can destroy everything. From now on, I'll be more vigilant about red flags in relationships. Don't let anyone manipulate you or demand that you sacrifice yourself or what you hold dear just for their way of life. So, if you were in my position, what would you do? Would you compromise again, or would you stand firm for what you cherish? Thank you for listening to today's story from the Guilty Notes channel. If this story resonated with you, please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional, real-life stories and valuable lessons. See you in the next video.